Some lawyers and activists in Kogi State have raised an alarm over what they described as a clandestine move by the Social Democratic Party and its governorship candidate to file a petition against the outcome of the November 11 governorship election. The lawyers, under the aegis of the United Front for Democracy, raised the alarm following the closure of the window allowed for the filing of electoral petition, with all allegations and petition relating to the petition front-loaded in line with Section 134 of the Electoral Act. Speaking at a press conference in Lokoja on Monday, the convener, Yetunde Olubunmi Shuaibu, said they had credible intelligence that the SDP candidate had yet to file his petition against the winner of the election, Usman Ododo of the All Progressives Congress, 22 days after the declaration of results.
Well, a specialist on election matters, Barrister Dotun Ajulo, joins us now in the studio to discuss the controversy over these filing of petitions and all of this arising from the dispute over the Kogi State governorship elections. Good afternoon and welcome to Arise News. Welcome to Newsday.
Very well. Good afternoon, the audience. Good afternoon, ladies.
Well, we've seen the off-cycle election battles in the courts. What do you make of the situation that is happening with Kogi State?
Well, Kogi State usually comes with its own election peculiarity. But this time around, it's coming to us in a very different shade. Honestly speaking, the level of what some of us expected in the course of the election was short of expectation. To a very relative extent, the election in Kogi State was peaceful. But aftermath of the election, we are seeing some very funny things that is now making it look like the peculiarity of Kogi election remained the same. For whatever it is worth, I saw the banter, the blame and the counter-blame going on, particularly between SDP and APC, as far as filing of election petition is concerned. One thing I can take from all of it is that the man in the middle of it, being the SDP candidate, has all time been confused as about going to court or not. I can tell you for free that immediately after election results was announced on the 12th of November, he came on here to say, come, he's not going to court to challenge whatever might be the outcome, trying to like more of being an aspersion. Maybe he doesn't believe what will come up from the judiciary. And weeks after, I think about 3 days after, the secretary of SDP came to the media space to say, come, our candidate can be very emotional about issues. Don't worry, we are going to court. So at that point, the only signal that onlookers like us can get is that this is a man that is not being convinced about what his intention should be aftermath of the election. So, and the result, and effect of that is what we are seeing today, that the issue of 21 days after election is beyond the Electoral Act. It has its basis in the Constitution, going by the 4th alteration, Section 285 of the Constitution. So, and like today I was reading a report or more of a media, press media release by the learned Sikh, Okutepa. With due respect, I was just wondering why is all of this making a news if indeed your petition was filed on the 2nd of December, not beyond that date. So my take in all of this is the man in the middle of the ocean is confused, and one can see people trying to like compel him to jolly on this frolic of election petition. But it is what it is in Kogi.
But I'm wondering, is it really that the SDP candidate is confused or he does not have faith in the judiciary? You would know that a lot of Nigerians have been criticizing the judiciary for the rulings, sometimes conflicting judgments that have come out from our courts. So what can be done? So I would think that the question would be, what should be done to restore faith in the judiciary in Nigeria?
Well, the unfortunate thing is that when you are talking about faith in the judiciary or not, it's not as if you have any other alternative. It's like saying because of the system, the way the system is, you don't want to go through the university. Once elections results are being announced and the thing is out there. The only sure way for you is the judiciary. So talking about hope in the judiciary, whether you like it or not, I get very, very rattled and baffled whenever people are just taking snipe at the judiciary. We are in this country when, either you like it or not, even the current spate of election petition has determined for both opposition and so whatever is happening to the judiciary, we should be talking about ours as a nation. We should be talking about our system. Judiciary is us. We are Nigerians. We have our peculiarities as Nigerians. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't toe that line. I don't agree that anything is wrong with the judiciary. Rather, we should just take it that, okay, our system generally, as Nigerians, or maybe perhaps Africa, something is wrong with us. So there is no alternative other than this judiciary. So if you have hope and believe in what you've done in the course of the election, if you feel, okay, I have my basis under section 134 of the Electoral Act, I have my basis to contest. Why won't you go in and contest it? For goodness sake, it is lawyer that argues your issues. It is not the judiciary themselves that decide. It is based on argument that's been put forward. So if you are convinced about what you have, if you are convinced that, okay, I have the mandate of my people, if you are convinced that, okay, I won the majority vote and the rest of it, put in for the judiciary. Either you like it or not, decisions of the judiciary has favored both parties at both ends. So there is nothing wrong with the judiciary, please.
Well, Mr. Ajulo, I guess you are entitled to your opinion, but I know a lot of people might disagree with you. I think it's an easier pill to swallow that our systems, especially something smaller like the judiciary, could work better at what they're doing than to say Nigerians or Africans as a whole have a problem.
Well, it will mean, maybe you didn't understand the context in which I was coming from. Let's put the issue of Kogi State on the table. The person in the middle of either election petition was filed 21 days or not is not a judge. It's just a judicial officer talking about the secretary of the election tribunal. That's the person in the middle of either this thing was filed on the 2nd or not. How? But it's quite easy. And that's where the media will need to be of help. It's quite easy to sell it there. With due respect to Mr. Okutekpa, I was still reading his listing before I came here. We're like calling, they should step in, judiciary is under attack in Kogi State. No. The issue in Kogi State has to do with an officer of the election tribunal who happens to be the secretary. My laws are not the ones that are responsible for filing what is going on and all of that. So the context in which I'm saying this is, whatever it is that you might think is wrong with the judiciary, it is about our system. There is something more germane we need to address, which is who we are, our politicians. Talking about Ajaka, talking about Dino Melaye and the rest of it, you realize that all of these persons have gone around the major political parties. So, but when the whatever it is switches, you see them, everybody raising alarm. So I'm not saying, what I'm only saying in essence is that indeed there is an issue with judiciary, in quotes, but we should see it more that there is an issue with us, there is an issue with our system. The judiciary is a reflection of our system. That is the context in which I'm saying that we should better, as a country, as a people, address what our issues are. It will take its effect on judiciary and every other sector of whatever it is in the country. So that is the context where I'm coming from.
Now, in its reaction, the SDP has dismissed this allegation, saying that it was as a result of filing that the SDP was granted an order to inspect the materials for the election. So I'm wondering, should there be do you think there should be an investigation, especially now that the United Front for Democracy has alleged that some judiciary members are complicit in this controversy?
Definitely there's going to be an investigation.
But then how did they get that? How did they get that order to inspect materials if they had not filed?
No, it was, because, anything election matters, even the provision of law that governs election matters, particularly as to computation of time, is sui generis, is in its class of its own. Like, when you hear 21 days, you'll be thinking that, okay, it should be 21 working days. But in the case of election matters, 21 days mean 21 days. Even Sunday counts. Now, talking about how they got the whatever, how they got the order to inspect. Yes, you come by way of, they got an order by way of ex parte. They got an order by way of ex parte to say, okay, we want to inspect the materials. The rules make provision for that in such a way that, okay, even before you file, you can bring a motion ex parte to say, okay, I'm filing this suit. However, to make this suit competent before this court, there are certain documents I'm going to need, which is in possession of INEC, that is going to be a party to this suit. Tribunal, make an order that they should release those. So there is a room for that within the ambit of the law. Now, having gotten that order, the order has nothing to do with the stipulated 21 days. You see, I will tell you this, the issue of 21 days when it comes to election matter is immutable. And once you fail, even by 1 hour, it's an incurable defect. In fact, Ajaka should be thankful if indeed that election, whatever was filed out of time, should be thankful that they raised the issue so early enough. Because even at the level of Supreme Court, finding has to be made as to when this thing was filed. And the moment you raise the issue of time, finding out of time, it borders on jurisdiction. Even at the Supreme Court.
But the SDP has made it known that it filed, on the 2nd, or was it on the 3rd?
Yes.
It filed on time.
On the 2nd, when you calculate from the 12th to, when you calculate 21 days from on the 12th of November, when the election was declared, the 2nd December will indeed be the 21 day. That should be the last day in which they have to file. They have said they filed. I would have expected by now that they should bring up, when you are talking about filing, there are associable indices to establish exactly when you file. That is what they call security deposit. Before they allow you file, it's an initiative of the new Electoral Act. Before you file, you make a security deposit, I think 1 million naira. Like when you come in with your so-called processes, the first thing they obtain from you is the payment, receipt of payment for the sum of, I think 1 million naira. I don't know for governorship, but I know generally it's 1 million security deposit. So from that alone, when that payment is made, you can use that to infer at exactly what time the election petition was entered. And when you go to our registry, even the conventional court registry, they detail as to time on your documents when so there are other associable indices that will clearly indicate when indeed this thing was filed. So, which goes to issue of investigation, like you rightly mentioned earlier on, that investigation will have to be made to know exactly when this thing was put in. Well, I've seen what the SDP was coming up with, but what I would have just simply expected, this is very simple. We file so time, look at it, payment was made at so point for security deposit. This is that time. These are the things I expect to have been on the media to save us time so that you and I will not be having to be deliberating over this.
They call it bringing out the receipts. So we are waiting for the receipts to be brought out.
Waiting for are you saying they've
No, in normal parlance, that's what it's called. When you're waiting for the evidence, the receipts.
the receipt will be out, definitely.
We will wait for that. We'll have to leave it there.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, Barrister Dotun Ajulo. Thank you for joining us.
See you more again.